My name's Blair Thomas, and I'm a puppeteer. And I'm working in this capacity with the Looking Glass Theater Company. And they have a new play called Mr. and Mrs. Pennyworth. I started as a puppeteer when I was a kid. Around 10 or 11, I started to build some puppets and work with some store-bought puppets and made puppet shows for about 3 or 4 years. I had a company. And then I stopped doing puppet theater as a kid and got involved in the Actors Theater to a degree. And after college, I came to Chicago to work as a director in the Actors Theater. I thought I would be a director for the regional theater. And I, after about 4 or 5 years, became a little disillusioned with that and had an opportunity to make an original piece, and I went back to puppetry in my late 20s. And so for the past 30 years, I've been making puppet shows in Chicago. About 7 years ago, my wife and my family, we moved here to southeastern Wisconsin. We have a small 5-acre farm, and she's really the farmer. I'm the farmer's assistant, and that affords me this studio barn to work in. Often what happens with contemporary puppetry when people who are interested in the arts come and see it for the first time is they say, I've never seen anything like that in my life. Because what's happening in contemporary puppetry is live in front of you, mixing styles and mediums and aesthetics that is wholly new in its collection. And it's a very dynamic form that's not puppetry solely for children at all. If you haven't been going to the puppet theater since you were a kid, you would be in for a great surprise by coming to see productions like this one, that Mr. and Mrs. Pennyworth, where there's different scales of puppetry that are being employed. There's I have very normal-sized puppet dolls that are being used, but also larger, and there's a large costume puppet that's in the end is about 10 or 12 feet long. It's a very large puppet. And then Manual Cinema is also presenting shadow puppetry in this show as well. So there's that's a whole nother dimension. And shadow puppetry is like it's a visual theater that cannot be accomplished in the cinema. So it's a very astounding kind of technique, and they're experts at it. What ends up happening is you have this live aesthetic that's a storytelling technique that really is transportative. You're in a space you're in the presence of the puppet, and the puppet, as an adult, you look at it and you go, I know that's not alive. But if the puppet has been well designed and is being well performed, you start to be deceived because you say, oh, I recognize that movement. In fact, oh, that looks very much like the movement of a wolf, and that looks like the movement of a small figure, and you believe for a second, and then you're like, no, I don't believe, and then you believe, and then you don't believe, and you don't believe, and you go back and forth like this, and then you start to become entranced by the performance, and this is one of the phenomena of puppetry. So my name is Blair Thomas, and I'm a puppeteer. And on this production of Mr. and Mrs. Pennyworth, I am the puppet designer, and it's being produced by the Looking Glass Theater for the Chicago International Puppet Theater Festival in January. I'm also the founder and artistic director of the Chicago International Puppet Theater Festival. And this is Machete, my cat.